Is there ever a time when you got pulled over, like for like a traffic stop or something, and you had a bunch in the car?
Nah, I didn't ride around with dope like that. If I had dope in the car, I was going to pick it up or I was going to drop it off. Like how people just ride around casually, going to see their girl with dope in the car. No. Now that happened to us one time. Um, I stayed in Norwalk and uh, I had my girl driving the car with the dope in it, and she pulled off to go to the doctor, and I'm infuriated. Right, this is like the first of the month. I got like 2 kilos cut up in $50 pieces. I'm finna kill. So when she do that, she pulled over to the doctor's office. I jump out the car. What the, cussing like, what the fuck you doing, man? Motherfucking well, you weren't supposed to get off that damn freeway. So I gotta go to the doctor. So I had my dudes in the truck with me. I said, man, get the car. And so they jumped in the car. As soon as they got in the car, the sheriff got behind them, pulled them over. They the first ones to go to jail for like 2 kilos of crack cocaine cooked up, all cut up, everything. But at that time, it was really like no big deal. I think their bail was $50,000 a piece. So.
Oh, so this is before they put the extra
Yeah, it
laws
was
on,
before the
on crack
laws.
and everything.
Nobody really cared. In the beginning, nobody really cared about cocaine, the fees, and they probably boosted their fees up. Because they wouldn't talk and they both ran. They both jumped out the car and ran. So they probably hiked their bail up and everything, but they didn't stay in jail an hour. I had them out of jail less than an hour.
Did they beat the case or?
Yeah, they both beat the case.
Both beat the case.
I put Alan Fincher on the case, and matter of fact, that was the first case that he won for me. That's how we became tight the way we did, and that's the way he became my lawyer, because he won that case. Because I didn't want my guys to go to case because they had absolutely nothing to do with that dope, other than they was just driving that car for me.
So they weren't even dealers or anything?
I don't know if they was dealing then or not. I don't know if they were. Most of my homies started late. When they started, I was already like $500,000-$600,000 strong when they started, because they took them so long to see, what was going on.
Once they seen that you were cracking, then they was like, okay.
Yeah, they started seeing the houses and the apartments, the cars and the junkyards, the tow trucks and race cars. It got almost impossible to resist.
I can imagine. It would have been hard for me to resist. I seen somewhere you had a big meeting in Miami with the Colombians, where you bought like $600,000.
Yeah. We did that with David Chow. He had set that up, and we flew the money down. We all flew the money down. I think it was like 6 of us. So we all flew with like 100,000 apiece.
So was this like your first big time?
Yeah, that was the most I'd ever spent at one time. Yeah.
At that point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you?
It was scary. We going to a foreign place. We'd never been there before. We'd heard the stories about Miami, and then we down there with no guns. We didn't bring no guns or nothing with us. So it was kind of scary, but we kind of knew how to, we kept the money separated from the dope. We went and seen the dope first, and then we let them see the money. So it made it a little smoother.
So you guys drove it back?
Yeah, I bought a $1,500 car. I spent all my money on dope. I didn't save any money. I spent everything I had.
How much were the keys back then? Do you remember at that point?
What was we paying for those kilos? 30 something. Probably 30 something. 35, 38. Maybe 40. They was high because we had 600. I think we only came back with like 20 kilos.
And you guys drove it all the way back from Florida?
Yep. I blew the truck up. The truck that we bought in Georgia, I blew it up in Tennessee. I blew the motor in Tennessee. And then we rented a U-Haul truck because we didn't have ID. We didn't even have driver's license, man. I rented a U-Haul in in Tennessee from this junkyard, and we drove that little U-Haul truck to Vegas, and then the guys picked us up in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then you get back, and
It was over. Once we got to Vegas, it was over. You know, it was.
now when you started, buying these big amounts, are you still breaking it down and selling?
Some. I did both.
know?
I did both. I would take 1 kilo, probably make 100,000 off of it. And then the other ones, I probably break it down into ounces, quarter pounds.
So you just
Nobody was buying kilos back then. They didn't have no money. See, I took all the guys who started buying kilos, most of them, even in the city, that I start them off, with their first ounce or their first quarter pound, because they didn't have no money. I showed them how to get money.
Okay.
When I started in the game, most of these guys, they thought having an ounce was a big deal. And it was a big deal when I got my first ounce. But I have a tendency of being greedy. And I always want more.
So you get the hustler spirit from, whatever you're doing.
Yep.
Just take it, just keep it going. They say you had $1 billion pass through your hands.
I don't know. I never counted. Probably, maybe more than that.
I mean, that's a lot.
You figured I probably did that in 2 years. You figure $1 million every day, and some days 3 million. And it went up anywhere from 1 million to 3 million. So it just fluctuated.
What were you doing with all this money?
Buy stuff, buy houses.
I mean, this was before they questioned the money. The government was as strict on the money.
Oh, they had the $10,000 limit, but people work with you when you got money. But you work with shady people too.
I see.
So
you were able to stay under the radar then.
Yeah, well, it wasn't hard though.
A lot harder now, I take it.
I don't know.
Oh.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I gotta get the money to find out.
Can you walk me through a $3 million day? What's that like?
You go to bed at 3 a.m. You get back up at 7. And all day it's just one meeting after another one about cocaine. And then finally you get the cocaine, and 15 minutes later you sold out.
And you get some more right then and there, or?
No, I start working on getting more, but I'm probably go play some basketball.
So you'd have it all sold half the day through?
Yeah, once I get it, it's sold. I would do everything before I even got the cocaine. I would sell it all. Like I would have all my guys come, go get their money counted. Take your money to the money counters. Get your money counted. By the middle of the day. That's why the cops were so frustrated, because they never catch me with drugs. So I'd only have it like 15, 20 minutes. And then even then, I didn't do it. I had some little bitty guys, they were like 15, 16 years old. And I would just park the van, and then we would put all the bags with people's names on it in the van. And then they would just, as guys pull up, they jump out of the van, hand them their bag. And then we would do this up in Baldwin Hills, where the rich people were at. So, nobody is looking for nobody doing drugs up in Baldwin Hills. So they just pull in front of somebody's yard with the van, and cars would just drive up, and we just throw them in the car. 15, 20 minutes, we done.
Like that. $3 million. Boom.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.